the beginning. It was 2 in the morning. In a cramped apartment in Queens, New York, Zine sat staring at an old wooden desk. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the radiator. His eyes, however, weren't on the bills stacked on the desk or the chipped coffee mug by his side. They were fixed on the bottom drawer, the one that had never opened. The locked drawer. He had bought the desk from a second-hand store 20 years ago, when he first arrived in America with nothing but a suitcase and a borrowed dream. From that day until now, the drawer had stayed stubbornly shut. The key was missing, maybe lost forever. He had always told himself he'd try to open it one day, but life had a way of making sure one day never came. Tonight, though, something was different. Something restless pulled at him, urging him to uncover whatever lay behind that old lock. The immigrant struggle. Zine's life in America had been a story of sacrifice. By day, he drove a yellow cab through the chaos of Manhattan, enduring impatient passengers, traffic tickets, and aching back pain. By night, he stocked shelves at a small grocery store. He barely slept, barely ate. Why? For his daughter. Aisha was his entire world. Born in America, she was the reason Zine hadn't given up and gone back. His wife, Sarah, had left years ago, unable to handle the loneliness of immigrant life. She had returned to Pakistan, leaving Zine to raise Aisha alone. He had never remarried. Love was a luxury he couldn't afford. But lately, things had been slipping. Bills piled up faster than he could pay them. The landlord was threatening eviction. And worst of all, Aisha, now 16, had started pulling away. She no longer laughed with him the way she used to. She hid things, went quiet at dinner, stared at her phone like he wasn't even there. Zine had survived loneliness before, but losing his daughter's trust, that was something he couldn't survive. Breaking the drawer. That night, after another argument with Aisha, Zine found himself staring at the drawer again. Maybe it was just a distraction. Maybe he just needed to break something open, anything, to feel in control. He fetched a screwdriver and a hammer from the closet. His hands trembled as he forced the metal into the keyhole. The sound echoed unnaturally in the silence of the apartment. With one sharp push, the old lock gave way. The drawer slid open with a groan. Inside lay a small bundle wrapped in faded cloth. Zine pulled it out, his heart thudding. He unfolded the cloth, revealing a stack of letters, some photographs, and an envelope full of $100 bills. The letters. Zine's breath caught. He lifted one of the letters. It was dated 1978, written in neat cursive, "My dearest Farah, I hope one day you will forgive me for leaving so suddenly. America is not what we dreamed it would be. I will return for you. I promise." The letters weren't his. They belonged to someone else, someone who had once owned this desk, someone who had lived, loved, and struggled in America before him. Photographs showed a young couple, a man with tired eyes and a woman smiling with hope. The man looked hauntingly familiar, though Zine couldn't place why. In one photo, the man was standing outside a cab, an old model, yellow and dented. A cab driver, just like him. A twist of fate. Zine's hands shook as he opened more letters. The man had written about working endless shifts, about feeling invisible in a city that never slept. About a daughter he hadn't met yet. About sending money back home. Zine's stomach turned. This was his story? Or maybe every immigrant's story? Different names, same pain. But then came the final letter. Unfinished, written in hurried scrawl, "They are after me. If anything happens, the money is for my daughter. Her name is Aisha. Zain froze. Aisha. He read the name again, his vision blurring. The letter wasn't decades old. It was dated just 18 years ago. His chest tightened. The man in the photographs, now he recognized him. It was his wife's older brother Adil. Sarah had once mentioned him, the brother who came to America before her, who disappeared mysteriously. The family never knew what happened to him. And here, in his drawer, was the truth. The buried past. Zain sat back, overwhelmed. Adil had lived in this very city, driven a cab, struggled as he now struggled. And then, something happened. Something dark. The money, thousands of dollars, was untouched. Left behind, hidden. For Adil's daughter. But Sarah had never mentioned Adil having a child. Unless Sarah had hidden the truth. Unless that child was closer than Zain had ever realized. His heart pounded. Could it be? Could his own daughter Aisha be carrying a name and a legacy he never knew about? Confrontation. The apartment door creaked. Aisha stepped inside, headphones around her neck, eyes tired from the night out. She saw the papers spread across the floor and frowned. "Dad, what are you doing?" Zain couldn't find words. He held up the letter with shaking hands. "Do you know who this is?" he whispered. She glanced at the photograph and froze. Her lips parted, her face draining of color. "Where did you find that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Zain felt the floor shift beneath him. "You know him?" Aisha's eyes welled up. "Mom showed me. Years ago. She told me never to tell you." The world tilted. Why would she keep this from me? Aisha swallowed hard. Because he's my real father." Shattered truth. The room spun. Zain felt like the walls were collapsing in on him. All those years. All the sacrifices. The sleepless nights, the double shifts, the dreams he had carried for Aisha, believing she was his blood. But she wasn't. He wanted to scream, to deny it, but the evidence lay scattered across the floor. The man in the photos. The money. The letters. The name. Aisha was crying now. "Dad. I mean, you are my dad. You raised me. You gave me everything, but I had to know the truth. Mom told me when I was 13. That's why I pulled away. I didn't know how to face you." Zain's hands dropped to his sides. His heart felt like shattered glass. Yet, in her tearful eyes, he saw the same little girl who used to hold his hand crossing the street. The decision. He looked at the money again. Enough to change their lives. Enough to pay the bills, secure her future. It was meant for her. Slowly, he gathered the letters and placed them back in the drawer. He pushed it shut, this time locking it with a small makeshift latch. He turned to Aisha, voice breaking. "I don't care whose blood runs in your veins. You are my daughter. Nothing changes that." She collapsed into his arms, sobbing. For the first time in years, the walls between them crumbled. The ending. The next morning, Zain drove his cab through the city streets, but something inside him had shifted. The drawer's secret had almost destroyed him, but it had also given him clarity. The past was cruel, yes. But the present was his. The future still belonged to Aisha. And as the sun rose over Manhattan, Zain whispered a silent prayer for the man who came before him, Adil, the forgotten immigrant. His story had ended in tragedy. Backhand index pointing right. What would you do if this happened to you? Comment below.